Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to this episode of Light Leaders Ascension School. I'm so excited because today we have a very special guest on. We have the beautiful Amber Valdez, and she is a former American football cheerleader, former TV presenter turned spiritual mentor, 5D business coach, and priestess. And I actually met her at a retreat where she was facilitating a beautiful ceremony with Yamanja. And immediately I was like, I love this woman. I love her energy. Connected with her straight away. And the retreat was 2 months ago. So the opportunity to get to channel for her and invite her onto my podcast, I'm super excited to have her here. Thank you so much for being here, Amber.
I'm so honored. I can't wait to hang out with you today.
Yay. And so for those of you who are tuning in with these episodes, they're a little bit different, right? So Amber has given me permission before this session to sit with her guides and channel her guides. So, you guys know if you listen to this, I'm a channeler. So, I've been sitting with her guides, getting to know a little bit more about her purpose, the magic she's here to share, the power of her work. And that's what we're going to be diving into today to look at the energetics of who she is and her work and what she's here to do. Yes, going into, some of her journey, but that deeper level and really getting to know her energetically, spiritually. And so you guys can see, that other side of the channeling as well. And I've invited her on because I believe that she's a leader. I believe that she is leading a movement as well. And this is what this podcast is all about. It's bringing on the leaders who are leading and are part of this new beautiful wave and are having a big impact. So this is why she's here today. And Amber, before we get into all the channeling good stuff, I want people to have that connection to you, to get to know you a little bit. Would you mind sharing a little bit just about your story, like how you got to where you are and what that journey's been like for you?
I would. Thank you all for taking time out of your precious moments of your life to hang with us. I promise you it's going to be worth it. And thank you, Athina, for being such a light leader in your own right and a priestess. And I'm just so excited to be wing to wing with you as we create this heaven on earth that we've all been praying about and came on this planet for. So thank you so much for all you do in this world and your leadership. So as you mentioned, my name is Amber Valdez. I am 45 years young. I'll be 46 here in a couple weeks. Holy shit. I grew up on food stamps and free lunches in a humble beginning. So I grew up with a mentally ill mother and a father that struggled with addiction most of his life. It wasn't until 13 years before he died that he got sober, and he was always my phone pal, my best bud. If it wasn't for my dad, I honestly don't know where I would be. He was the one that told me that I mattered and that I'm worthy and that I can be anything I want to be. And having that voice in my head, I truly feel is what got me through. Um, Cheerleading, as you mentioned, I was a high school cheerleader as well, and it really saved my life. Dealing with such severe abuse in the house, we had, government child protective services is not in my home, and I really just compartmentalized what was going on at home and just focused out. And I found such great joy in seeing other people win, and it came really naturally to me. I got excited, relishing and celebrating other wins, which made me a great cheerleader and also kept me busy from not turning to, anything else I could have been involved in. So fresh out of school, I moved and went right into the workforce. I ended up cheerleading for the Seattle Seahawks and had zero dance training. But that's when I started to realize the will of manifestation and the power of your word and intent. And really just people tell me I couldn't do it. And if anybody tell me I couldn't do it, I'd say, watch me. I really took that as a challenge. It's like, don't ever tell me no. I will find a way to create a yes. And so from that space, it was a wild ride. I was throwing raves for 19 years. I threw EDM festivals. I was executive producer of festivals, and I was, dealing with television, and then found my way down to LA. Of course, the place you go to Hollywood to find your self-worth. And it was through that wild ride of seeking to be famous that I had my greatest dark night of the soul. I literally realized after being bullied on a reality television show that I was on, and finding out my boyfriend was a sex addict. And that really activated my unresolved grief from my dad's death that I really just put on a shelf. So I realized my dad was dead, my dream was dead, my relationship was dead, and I was about to take my life that day. I walked off the set of E! News, which is a big entertainment news show channel in LA. And my plan was to literally take a bottle of sleeping pills, and that was a wrap. And through divine intervention, of course, I'm here to tell the tale, but I was enrolled into an emotional intelligence training that changed my life. And from there, I became the life purpose cheerleader, and it was a stand for people to learn that they matter, they're worthy, and their purpose matters. And it wasn't until 40 that I got rid of that archetype and realized life's not all cupcakes and rainbows. I'm not just going to pretend everything's fine and will it with affirmations, because being a true light worker is going deep into the shadow. And so I
Mhm.
really gave myself permission to just own my name. And for the last decade, I've supported people through their awakening, through getting clear on their purpose and guiding them through some tools
Mhm.
and practices, online retreats. I've even done a retreat in Australia and some activations and pilgrimages and online programs. And so
Mhm.
last year, 2023, I ended up going on holiday after losing my dog, and I met the love of my life within 3 hours of landing in Mallorca, Spain. So I went
Wow.
back to Austin, packed my stuff, and moved to Spain in July 2023. We were engaged within a month and married within another month. So within like 90 days of meeting, losing my pet Romeo, my soulmate dog, I met
Mhm.
the love of my life, and we're now living in
Yeah.
Portugal. And I'm pivoting out of my coaching business and really just like had it
Mm.
with the industry, and spirit's calling me to something greater. So this
Ooh.
call could not come at a more perfect time. So that's the short teaser. I hit seven figures in 2021 in the midst of the pandemic when spirit told me to move to the mountains. And yeah, here we are, just following the call. And people think I'm crazy, but it's the crazy people that think they can change the world that actually do. So full permission for whoever's listening to follow the guides, follow the nudges. And if people think it's insane, well, you're probably on the right path.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. What like feel like you've lived so many lives and so many incredible stories. Like wow, amazing. And I'm so interested. So you're actually pivoting out of coaching. Do you know what you're pivoting into, or is it still all open? Or if you don't mind sharing.
I think spirit knows, but I have for the past few years really found a lot of joy and a natural way of being in ceremony. And for the last 2 years, I think I've told all my closest friends, I just want to do ceremony full time. I just want to do ceremony full time. I just want to do ceremony full time. And when my students say that to me, I look at them and go, why are you not listening to yourself? So there's been a bit of a reckoning of like, I have been trying to squeeze every juice out of my coaching business because it's what I know. It's what comes
Mhm.
naturally. I'm good at it. I've made a difference. I've made an impact. I've helped thousands of people. I'm an intuitive channel. I'm a great coach. You will know this. But spirit's like, yes, and. And so it's been really challenging to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I feel the most alive when I'm connecting with the earth, the air, the water, the fire. The
Mhm.
elements talk to me, the earth beings talk to me, you know this. I can hear the divine through nature. And so my friends have had me come and do blessing ways, mother made into mother crossings, everyone's like, Amber, you need to do that. Like, Amber, you need to make a business of this. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been like leading ceremonies essentially only for my friends behind closed doors and for my students at my retreats, but front facing, nobody sees this like priestess that I am, where I'm channeling light language. I'm damn near doing like exorcisms. I'm like sending beings back to the light. We're like, my retreats are freaking next level in the sense of like
Mhm.
what actually happened. We stopped time, we transported time, we jumped dimensions, and like what's
It's
happening
deep.
right now. So
Yeah.
I want to continue to help people activate their gifts, and people can't help but get into my field. And the next thing I know, they're hearing their ancestors, or they're able to talk to the rock beings, or they're like getting visions, or their voice gets activated. It's just
Mhm.
what happens when you come to my space, because I'm about giving the stage to everyone. I'm about handing the mic. It's about leading wing to wing. And I think that's what's different for me and a lot of the coaches. It's like, let me tell you what you need to do. And it's like, no, sister, like you have codes, you have you have skills. Like, let's be in this coven together and let's
Mhm.
like amplify and activate the remembrance of the priestess. And Mother Mary's been calling me really loudly, and Mary Magdalene, like
Yeah.
insane. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into my retreat and how it ended
Amazing.
up being the bringers of the rose and like it's not, I didn't plan it, and I just surrender and show up and answer the call, and Morocco has been a big activator for me, so
That's right.
I'll just end there
Mm.
because I'll talk your ear off. I gotta stop. You
I
gotta
love
interrupt me,
it.
girl.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. And the reason why I was laughing is because literally they said to me, and I wrote it down somewhere. You'll hear me going, "Oh yeah, here it is. You're a master ceremonialist." And they're like anything. They said anything like baby blessings, marriages, like anything ceremonial. So when you were saying that, I was like, "Oh my god, yes," because that's like they were saying like this is one of your main guides. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into it, and I love that you're pivoting because there was stuff coming up around that too. So let's just get into it because there's so much, so actually a lot that I want to share with you, and I'm sure there'll be questions that come up from it. So yeah,
Oh,
let's get
great.
going. Okay, so I'll start off just by sharing a little bit about your guides. Now, obviously, I remember when I first met you, I just remember being like, fuck, this is a priestess. Because I just saw all of the goddess lineages that you were tied to. And I was like, oh my God, like she has been in so many priestess incarnations, and like all those goddesses are still connected with her. And like you carry all the lineages so strongly, and it's quite palpable in the work and the way you hold yourself and what you bring. Like you are so connected to that path. So it's so interesting to me listening you talking, be like, nobody knows I'm a priestess. I'm like, what? It's like the most obvious thing about you. Like you're such a priestess. Maybe not in like, hey, I'm a priestess, but in just who you are. Like you hold that so deeply, and also with the sacredness. Like even thinking how you ran that ceremony in Ibiza, like there was such a sacredness to that. I actually said that to Alex, who was there with me. Like she brings such a sacredness, and it was just such a walking embodied priestess. So connecting with your team as well, I did see so many of these goddesses who are so strongly connected to you. One of your big main guides, and she was kind of around me all day because I was like, yep, I'm going to be channeling for Amber. And she was just there with me all day in spirit. Um, Oshum, Oshum. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name correctly.
Shun?
Uh, yes, Oshun. I because then I had to Google it because there are different spellings, and she was showing me the Oxum spelling, but then I looked up the pronunciation. It's like Oshun, Oshum. Um, but she is one of your main guides. And the way she was describing like your path and the way she was like, you're here to water the path of the feminine. And it was almost like nourishing the path of the feminine. And she was saying, you will work with both men and women if you haven't already. But I see you as someone who is so gifted in many, many different things, which I also think is one of it's hard when you've lived so many lives of embodying things because, and I think what you experience with your coaching as well is you are good at it. And it's like, I could help people and I am good at it, but I'm being called to the next evolution of my soul. And I really see you as someone who is capable of doing so many things. But what she was saying is, you are so gifted in bringing people together, like anything ceremonial, baby blessings, marriages, because you have this ability to like pull people in. That's how I was actually seeing you, like pull people in. And she's helping you with weaving and co-creating life into this world. And that's baby as well. So she's a guy that it's like this is part of like the feminine path for you as well. The creatrix that you're here to. I can see your like emotions coming up. What part is resonating for you?
All of it. I think just really, Oshun was the first goddess that came to me before I even knew who she was. I was in Mount Shasta playing my drum at the water on my first retreat ever, which I had no idea what I was doing. Well, this lifetime, I thought I didn't know what I was doing. And I just started singing Oshun, Oshun. And I was like, what's that? And it
Oh,
wasn't until like a year or so later, I heard a song and I was like, what are they singing? And it was like Iri Were Were Nita Oshun. And I was like, whoa. And she's the African water goddess. She's the African river goddess. And then, being in Morocco and not even knowing that was a thing and singing to the water there and then bringing women back and doing these ceremonies on the river and bringing her roses. And it's like, that's my girl. And like, it makes so much sense.
mm,
I guess I've just had this story that like, I'm not qualified. And I think like this call is like a tap from my guides, tapping you to tap me and just like to remind me like, Amber, like, you can do this because it's scary. It sounds like we all feel like it's scary just because we haven't walked that path, but it doesn't mean it's not the one. And I teach this shit, right? But it's like, yeah, we all teach what we want to learn. And it's now it's one of those moments where it's like, honey, drink your medicine because it's so scary to leave what you knew behind to step into what you're really called to do. And it's like coaching has had me play it safe. And, you know, yeah, so just thank you for that, because this is the side that literally so many people don't get to see. And even like when I started channeling light language when I lived in Australia, or when I was in Australia, like I was so scared. What I was like, what the hell is happening to me? And this was before people were like front facing with it. And I
Yeah.
would just record myself and like send it to people that I confided in and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, am
Mm.
I being taken over? Like, and now everywhere in the world I go, a different sound currents come through, and different voices come through, and different beings come through me.
Yeah.
So thank you for reminding me that Oshun's here, and I get to talk to her more, not just when I'm in Africa or
Well,
in the
yeah.
water. But I do believe that her and Yemenjah brought me Gustavo, because I was singing on the beach in Barcelona at sunset with my drum to the ocean, asking for my partner. And then literally within 3 hours of landing in
Mm.
Mexico, which is straight across the ocean from Barcelona, I met Gustavo. So I truly believe that like Oshun is has my back. So thank you for I'm
Fully.
just so grateful for you, babe. Thank you for being willing to do this for me today. I'm just like
That's
really needed.
Oh, bless. Thank you, Amber. That's so beautiful. And I want to say, like, it is also, I'm sure, for so many people listening right now, to know that there is still, like, we still meet the fear. We still walk through it. It's not that we don't experience a fear, it's that we meet it and it's still there. And I know that so many light leaders listening to this, they have that same experience. So I thank you for your transparency and your vulnerability and openness, because I know that's going to be landing for so many people as well.
Yes. We gotta be real. We all are the same. No matter how success we get or not, we all still are scared to be fully
Yeah.
witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so this beautiful guide of yours, I do feel like she brought you your husband, and I also feel like she's going to bring you baby, because she was saying she's working with you the process of receiving from the divine and bringing it through you. And it's interesting because you have a really strong link to the water element, because the specific words that she used was to water the path of the feminine. I didn't actually know she was a water goddess, but that's like the specific wording. And it's interesting because then when I was looking at your team, the other guide that came through really strongly was Yamaya, no surprise. But very interesting what was coming through from her, because she was saying that she actually needs you. She's like, we have work to do together. She's like, you are a priestess of me. Like, we are contracted, and she actually needs your service work. And she was saying to me, yeah, that you have important work to do with her. And she was showing me a contract, like your soul agreed to like do sacred work with her in this lifetime. And she actually said to me, I'm getting goosebumps, part of the reason I was brought to you and came to your event and witnessed you in service of Yamaya was to tell you this. Like that, she was like, that's like one of the core reasons that we are having this connection, because like she's like, this medicine is so important. There's a deep past life contract of divine service that you have had with Yamaya, and your medicine with her, she was saying, it's needed all over the world. So that beautiful sacred ceremony you did for us in Ibiza, like I see the energy of that in so many different places as part of your travel. And she's like, I feel there's so much deep priestess work for you to do with her, and she's really, really calling you forward into that as well.
Wow, that's great. I do a lot of blessings in the ocean with
Beautiful.
people. I do a lot
Yeah.
of like really water purification ceremonies.
Mm.
Uh, or baptisms in the ocean. And so that's like one of the things that I do with my students that no one taught me, except obviously Em and Ja. And that's something I've
Yeah.
obviously done for a long time in other lives. But yeah, I sing to her. I always bring her stuff. I'm very connected to her. I pray with her every time I'm in the ocean. Like Gustavo was filming me the other day. I was out here, I was doing gong to the ocean, and he's like, "It looks like you were
Mm.
partying in the ocean." I was like, "No, no, no." I felt like I was having a psychedelic experience, and I was
Mhm.
out there like moving energy with the ocean, and I feel like I was just
Oh.
like conjuring the ocean. And I was like, "Did I just? Is this happening right now?" Because I literally feel like I literally feel like the waves stopped and like moved like
Mm.
so I was like, "What were you
Yeah.
doing?" I was like, "I don't know, but it felt like I was on something."
Yeah, you've got such a strong connection to the water element, and you've got both of those beautiful water goddesses working with you. So I'm not surprised you're just naturally doing all of this magic with the water because it's like such a core part of the element of your medicine here. It's so. Do you mind me asking what star sign you are as well?
Vedic, Sagittarius, and Western, I'm a Capricorn. So I'm a Cap,
Interesting.
um, Moon
Okay.
in Sag, rising Leo in Western astrology.
Interesting. So not much. Do you have much water in your chart or no?
Think so, which is so I have so much fire and earth, which is so interesting. And I almost drowned a few times when I was little. So I'm still like working with that, and then almost died surfing in Hawaii. Well, not almost died. That's a total exaggeration. I got really scared surfing in Hawaii in my
Mm,
early 20s and like never surfed again. So there's this like I know the power of the ocean, and I
it's beautiful.
respect it. But it's
Yeah.
also she scares me, and also I respect her and bow to her at the same time. So yeah, there's a
That's,
lot there, I think. And now I can see the ocean from
mm,
my house. I live on the cliffs, close to the cliffs here in Portugal, like right in Sarah. So I get to go to the ocean almost every day if I
oh,
want to. It's right there. It's like three
that's
minute drive.
amazing. That's amazing. I love that. That's so beautiful. And yeah, so interesting how then your chart, the earth and the fire, yet there's so much water medicine for you. So interesting.
Water me
Um,
down.
so I want to chat a little bit about what your guides were saying to me because they were showing me you are being opened up to a new path. It literally showed me like you've been walking along this path, and then they were like, hold on, there's another path off of here. And they were like, you're kind of looking at it, but you haven't accepted it, right? And they were saying to me, there's this path that's been opened up. It will take you to the next level. To the which at the moment I'm not surprised you're like it doesn't feel like coaching because I was also getting that, and I'll kind of go into what I was seeing and what I was feeling for that. But they were saying there is also a deeper hesitation because there's a lot of visibility that comes with this next level. And they were like, there is an initiation for you to go through. It actually feels like I say initiation, but it's not like a tested, like you'll be tested initiation. It's actually a self ceremony. That's how they describe it. Like you actually have to do a choosing ceremony for this path and like connect to it energetically and fully say, yes, I'm ready for this. Because what they were describing is that path, there is going to be a lot of I don't want to say like haters, but it's like that level of visibility. Like we all get it. It's not like you're going to get more than anyone else, but you are going to get it. And they were like, you also need to be ready to like that path is going to bring that. And I did feel like there was a part of you that was in hesitation. And the other side of it that they were saying, and this came up a couple of times for you, can I handle everything that path brings and handle having a family? And they were like, you need to be reminded that, like, yes, you can. You're actually meant to hold it all, and you're meant to show that way for other women. It's actually a part of your contract to be like, I'm walking the path and I can have it all. I can be both. I can be both for all the archetypes, all the initiations of the woman, and I can hold it and not be burnt out, not be overwhelmed. I can actually hold it. That's a part of your path. And they were saying, like, when you, so they were showing me like a ceremony that you do, you sit with yourself, you say, yes, I'm choosing this, I want this. When you have that kind of awareness of what that path brings, because it will be a time for you to like say yes, 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 and begin birthing. And what I mean by that is like there's so many new projects and new things on this path that are very, very different. Like what has been is not is going to be totally different. Now I know I spoke to you about the book before because I did see it quite strongly for you. I still see that for you at the moment, and I've got a bit I want to cover in that as well. There
Great.
is there is a TV thing there, and they were showing a door opening for that. Um, Baby, like all of these new things, which I will go into in more detail, but you're being invited by your guides to see what this path is and then to go into the full acceptance through a self ceremony because I wrote down here when I was writing, God, these ceremonies, you really are a master ceremonialist. That's another soul gift of yours because they were just like ceremony, ceremony, ceremonies.
Oh
Um,
my God.
so I love that. But this is what you're now being invited into for self ceremony. And there was another guy that was coming through really strongly. He was a masculine guy, and he was introducing himself as padre. And I actually felt like he was energetically connected to your partner. And there's a like he's connected to your partner, but he's energetically like got you. And it was very interesting to me because obviously, like, your partner is this masculine structure and he's holding you and he's got you energetically, but then spiritually there was another level where this masculine energy is also, I've got you. And the message from him was like, I've got you, mama, I'm holding you, like, you do your service work and I'm holding you. And that's literally like, he was just like, I'm here and I've got you, do what you came in to do. And it was really beautiful. It's just like this deep masculine love, and it's from your partner. I'm not sure if it was ancestral or connected to a spiritual team, but it's definitely from him, and it's come through in your sacred union, this beautiful connection with him. And he was saying it's a time where you're going to be receiving a lot and you're going to be stretched to receive and hold everything, but it's also everything you've been asking for.
Yeah. Well, my partner is definitely in it. He's in his own, like, there is so much shadow coming up for him. I am seeing so
Mm,
many sides of him. I'm like, who are you? Like,
mm,
either he's unconsciously fucking terrified of where this is going. Um, my husband this is all new to him. It was like a month into us living together. He's like, Mi amor, are you a bruja? I'm like, "Yeah, honey," and he's like, and I was like, "No, no, no, I'm a good bruja. I'm a white witch. I'm of the light." And he was like, "Oh," like he
mhm,
was just like, this is all brand new to him. So he's from Argentina. Like when he takes a drum though, I mean,
mm,
this man is like an undercover medicine man. Like, but he has to get activated in his own way. But being in my field, we moved 8 times in this year, babe. Like this man, he was working for real quick a
mm,
narcissist sociopathic billionaire in Germany. He basically was his slave. I think they have a slave contract of
mm,
many lifetimes.
mm,
He ran to the ground. He never got days off. He worked like a dog for 4 years straight. I come in the picture. I'm like, no, 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 no. You get to be paid your worth. The guy didn't like that. The guy basically said, her or me, got really wicked, robbed him of all this money he owed him, like really did him dirty. It was such betrayal for Gustavo. We looked at him like a father. It was so heartbreaking. And I was like, you don't need to work. You take a beat, take care of me, take care of our life, and like just take some space. And that was a year ago, October. So he's getting activated with feeling emasculated, not having purpose, not being able to contribute financially. So he's like cooks, cleans, does my laundry, literally washes my bloody underwear from my moon. Like he's literally like the most humble servant, but he's getting like really nasty. Like he's trying to find his identity and he's like attacking me. And I'm like, is there an entity or are you just like going through the shadow and like trying to push me out? But I'm like, yesterday I was like, listen, I will not allow this behavior in my life. I'm 46 years old. Like, I'm trying to reset my nervous system to calm so that we can get pregnant. This is all he wants. He wants to be a dad so bad. It's all he talks about. I've seen the babies around him. Everybody sees the babies around him. He's getting frustrated because the sexual stuff he's got going on. He's got money stuff going on, self worth going on. Like, he's got like, I'm like, get on the train because I've been in this work for a decade. I'm still a
yeah.
child, a newborn, but he's fresh off the boat this lifetime. So at any rate, like he's a beautiful man with a pure heart, but he is getting
Yeah.
tested. We are getting tested. But Portugal, I think, has been the exhale. So as soon as we got here, the water, we're relaxing. But like
Mm,
the last year of our life, he's literally unpacked us and packed us 8 times, including twice in
wow.
Austin. So it's been chaos. And like his life was very simple. He's a simple guy, like goes to the gym, goes home, you know, he's not like, and now he's on a plane every 2 days and he's got his wife channeling, angels and see working with priestesses. And like he's like, what? But he comes on retreat and he loves to be in service, but like he's trying to find his way. So I just wanted to give that to you and see if Pade had any advice for me because like literally like I'm like
Mm,
either you are someone that I don't know that you are or we're being tested. Like I'm like,
mm,
what
mm.
is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And to love a priestess, it is an initiation in itself. And especially like it's a kind of love that you have to meet it. Like you're called to meet it. And the priestess goes and she brings up all of the stuff. And I've seen lots of videos of him on your stories, all that. And I also feel his energy is very pure, very clear. Like there is a depth to him that radiates off of him. Um, I do want to say to it's such an interesting conversation because I'm around a lot of very successful multimillionaire women. And this conversation you just shared with me is one that I hear so often and I don't think is spoken about enough because the reality is all these successful women we've shed our programming for like the old 3D feminine like programs, like what it is. And we're like, great, we're out here making millions. And then our beautiful men who are so of divine service and so deeply loving are coming in and they're like, hold on, I was told to be good enough, I have to provide. I have to be the one doing all of these things. And if I'm not, who am I? And
That's
I've
right.
honestly been seeing it so much, and my partner and myself have also been navigating it because he's now coming into my company as COO, and but it was very challenging to be like I have to let go of that old programming because
Yes.
it's not the 5D way, but it is challenging. And when I've got Padre here, he's saying I feel the connection with you two and I see the contract and I like feel there's so much deep work and I feel like there's patience, there's love, and there's also it's interesting because what I feel is there is a connection for him for purpose and part of your purpose here, like I do really see you as, and I know you know this because you say it for yourself, like you're the one that connects people to their purpose, right, brings them into their purpose. And I think for him now it's actually this is what I thought my purpose was, and he's still in the process of like shedding this is what my identity was tied to. For men it's about purpose, right, this is who I am, this is my purpose, so therefore this is who I am, and that's all been shed. And so he's kind of grappling for himself. And so now he's actually coming back into the process of I've got to find who I am and in that find my purpose. And I actually feel like this is where you can support him because this is part of your gift. So, of course, the man that chooses to love you is going to go through a huge initiation about purpose because that's what you're here to do for people. So, he's just being activated in your code so you can bring him into this huge next level of divine purpose so that you can be in this beautiful, incredible, sacred union and share all of your work in a really powerful way. But when I actually energetically tune into your relationship, it does feel really pure and very, very deep.
Thank you for saying that because, man, I'm like, I am just witnessing your shadow, and it is nasty, and it is mean, and it is heavy, and it is dark. And I'm just like, wow. Like, I am like, ooh, like, where is the line of like boundary? Like, I'm like, you cannot keep projecting. But it's interesting that you're saying all this because I'm like, I said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, I was like, "Babe, like, you doing all these things for me so that I can, like, survive, like, is worth millions of dollars. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need you making millions of dollars. The way you take care why is it okay for women to take care of the children in the home, but a man can't do it and it be
Right.
okay?" I'm like, "It's not it's why? Just because I have a vagina, it's okay
Mhm.
for me to stay at home and take care of the house?" Like, he does everything, like literally everything. And my love language is acts of service. So my cup is full.
Mhm.
His is physical touch. And like, that's not mine. So, like, there's this, I feel like my needs are met, but he doesn't. And to your point, the identity
Mm.
shedding, who am
Yes.
I? What is my purpose? And so I think we're going to open a paddle place for him and do all that. But there's
I
been
love
so much betrayal. There's so much financial like drama and chaos in my life that I'm having to clean up over like massive betrayal. I don't know if you're seeing any of that in my field, but like I got robbed by my old coach's husband in a
that. Oh
fake
my
real estate
goodness.
deal in 2022. So he took $70,000 from me, which was all my savings and my cash savings, and then he co-signed me in a $180,000 loan. So for about 2 years, I was paying $4,300 on a loan that I didn't get the money for that went into this fake deal. He's in prison now. As of last month, he got sentenced, but like I was literally like dealing with the FBI. It was like a bad movie, but I had to wipe out my entire retirement to pay off to charge off this $180,000 loan. I paid them 70 grand. So like for over 2 years, for up until then, I had a high credit score. I paid my credit cards off every month, but when that happened, I had to pay the minimums. So I literally have like compounded interest of like over $100,000. And so it's like there's this huge breakdown happening because I haven't had the mental emotional capacity. Plus, spirit's been trying to pull me out, which I can see so clearly now. I wish I would have just waved the flag in 2022 instead of keep grinding to try to do the same thing. But,
Mm,
went from huge launches to like non-existent, so much drama with teams, so much chaos with exes, there was like so
yeah,
much drama in
yeah.
2021 and 2022 with narcissistic partners and
Mm,
with team and
yeah.
betrayal with friends and, being assaulted by my ex-boyfriend and my community in Austin not believing me. Like there was so much like pain that I realized yesterday when I was like in meditation. I was like, I have been in fight or flight for 2 years. I have literally not been able to relax. So I haven't been able to create at the capacity that
Yeah.
I have been. Plus, my soul doesn't want to. I don't want to grind, 18 hours a day. I don't want to work 7 days a week. Like, yes, I'm a Capricorn. I love my work, but I'm gonna be 46. Like, I want to slow it down so that I can
Mm,
create baby, but I realize that my cortisol has been through the roof literally for my
mm,
whole life, but really for the last 2 years. And I just don't want to play the game anymore. Like with the
mm,
coaching industry, like at one point when I was posting years ago, like I was doing 4 times a day and I don't have the energy to create reels like I used to. Like all of this stuff is like spirit, I think, pulling me one way, but also me being like, what's wrong with me? That I don't have this fire of
wow.
like creating for coaching, which could create the $100,000 launches. But like now it's just
Mm,
like, I don't have it. Like I got no gas in the tank because it's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm starting to reconcile with that. But
mhm,
I feel like I'm on the edge of this, like burning it all to the ground and like waving the white flag and being like, seeing so much in my industry behind closed doors of the smoke and mirrors of quote
mm,
unquote some of my bestest friends that are like front facing telling one story to their audience and behind the scenes it's not the fucking truth and it's like I am a truth teller and I am in deep integrity and like I don't want to play the game to sit at the cool kids table when I know what's going on behind closed doors of the cool kids table and it's like I'm
yeah,
not here to out your laundry but at the same time like I cannot associate with the integrity that is lacking or the lack of integrity that's running rampant in the coaching industry. It's like, I don't want to be a part of that. And it's like, I've seen what I need to see. My heart has been broken a million times over. And I'm like, it's become this greedy in the name of spirituality when it's like built on a house of cards. And I'm not saying for everyone, because there are a percentage of people like you that are doing really good work that have pure intent but I've literally heard some of the biggest producers in our industry say the words of like, do you know how much money is to be made in spirituality? And it's like marketers with false light. And like, I can see the false light because I am a priestess. And then people think I'm crazy. But then everyone wants to kiss people's asses because they have millions of followers or they have really high ranking podcasts, but like really they're like devil worshippers behind the scenes and they're like downright abusive to their partners and like narcissists and I'm just like whoa
yeah,
so for me like there's been like spirits like how much more do I need to show you and I've been resisting the pivot so I just share that with you because I've had my ass handed to me and financially like had my I mean the betrayal and the heartbreak of the masculine of like being lied to with bad business partners in 2021 and like really just running my business like spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and not purest intent really just like disrespect and like mismanagement and then being betrayed by my coach's husband and this lie it's like I feel like I never really gave myself a chance to heal and it's like it has impacted my ability to create and my self-esteem and my self-worth, and so it's like, I don't know if it's PTSD or trauma or all of it, but I just wanted to share that with you because this has been the hardest thing. It's like going from this responsible Capricorn who didn't go to college and worked her ass off and built this thing to going to like
mm,
a place of like, "Oh my god, am I gonna lose my house? Am I gonna claim bankruptcy? How was I such an idiot that I trusted these people?" And now like I'm suffering and like putting my friends on my credit so that they could get a house but then her husband robbing me of 20 grand and another
Yeah.
project that's like not even real. And I'm like, but no one's telling this story. And she's like a big influencer. And I'm just like heartbroken. And I'm wondering if, and this is my question, is like, is this collapse of all of these house of cards relationships the thing that God was like, well, of course, if I had you kicking ass in your coaching business, you never want to pivoted. Like, I guess I just need some confirmation of like, there's been so much self beat up, shame. That's like the first time I've ever shared this publicly, by the way. Um,
Mm.
anyway, there's that.
Thank you. Thank you for being so open and sharing so much. And I was laughing because that's literally what Spirit was saying to me as you're talking. They're like, oh, does she think if it was all like sunshine and rainbows and her business and her coaching that she would leave it when that's not what's meant for her? And they were like, we had to keep giving her signs and signs. And I know, on a soul level, we can look at it like that and be like, okay, I appreciate it's because I'm not meant to be on it. And I would have stayed on it if it felt good and it felt easy, even though that's not meant for me, because I do, it's almost like the energy I see, it's like almost you graduating from that industry and you're like, great, that's energetically not a fit for me. And I totally resonate with everything you were saying as well about it. Not a fit for me, but on another level, what you went through is deeply traumatic and you went through all of those things all at once. And so, of course, when our body and our nervous system and everything all around that receiving, it's going to feel a lot harder. And something that Spirit was saying to me about you as well, they were like, it's actually now her time to receive, but she's got stuff around receiving. And like, this is her time. And I would even like look at your partner as a reflection of that, as the mirror. Like, you are in a state where they're like, it's your time to receive. And if like from all areas, from your partner, from your business, from money, like from all of it, but there's still, and I do feel the energy around like worthiness. It might be still stuff from childhood, but there's still some stuff here for receiving, but you are being, and they're saying like this is healing work for you because it's all opening you up to um deeper receiving work here. And there is something else I wanted to say about that. Oh yes, because you mentioned I feel resistance. I've been resisting pivoting because I feel like intuitively you were like, okay, I keep getting all these signs, I keep getting all this stuff happening, but I feel resistance. What was the resistance, or why do you think like you were avoiding it?
I think it's just it's a false sense of safety. Like
Mm,
although my coaching, it felt my business took off organically, right? And it was really easy at start. Then I got addicted to it. I don't think I was in a bit of a savior complex. I got to save the world, right? I was in this like I got to save the world. I got to save the world, running
yeah.
myself into the ground for so many years. And then being a victim to my business that I fucking created. And then it
Mm,
was around like, and I was like, damn, Amber. So I've had to check my savior complex. I've had to check the being a victim to the business I created. Like, you're the boss. You don't want to be. And I
yeah.
used to be so stressed out. Like, the fire was burning, which is also a childhood trauma response of like,
Mm,
oh my God, this is the day we. And I used to drive my team like insane. So then they'd be in panic because I was in panic because
yeah.
I operated under chaos well, right? Living in the entertainment industry and working in agencies, it's like you have 17 earphones going at the same time or throwing productions with like 50,000 people at my shows. Like my
Mm,
nervous system was used to chaos and like
yeah.
environments where everything's burning and
Yeah.
urgent. So I took that frequency and that default into my coaching business and then just exhausted myself and
Mm,
exhausted everyone around us. And then all the betrayal came in and I kept fighting like the Capricorn I am, right? Like, we got
yeah.
to keep going, but the mountain's on fire. And Amber's like, no, but we said we were going here, which is great,
Mm,
but also not. Like, I get
mhm,
shit done, but I also don't know when to say fucking when. And then I want a
mhm,
husband, but I don't make space for it. And it's like, so this victim villain thing that I was like playing out. And I think the resistance is like, okay, I have a roadmap. I know I'm good at this. This is the safety. This is who am I if I'm not, well,
mm,
also being like spirit separating me from all the people who were my best friends, right? That like I built the coaching business around that was like seeing all kinds of stuff and not being honored and respected and being used in
mm,
those circles. And
yeah.
then just having this like pure intent and seeing other people's false intentions, which is all greed and fame. And so I'm like, whoa. And I think the resistance is like, is this possible? Which I believe everything is, but like there's this, I don't know. I think it's probably the same thing people feel in corporate America. It's like, this is all I've ever known, but I have a degree in this, but I have tangible evidence that this formula works, but girl, it ain't working. And I remember in 2022, bless her, this lash lady who's not spiritual at all. She's like, honey, I don't know about you, but you help all these people live their best damn life, but it doesn't seem like you live in yours. And I was like, thank you for this woman in the 3D to just smack me in the face because I was like, I'm a victim of my fucking business. Like, I never see my godson, I never see my friends. That's your choice. But there was like this survival that came from my childhood of like, I can't be broke. We can't be on the streets. We have to have food. And so it's like not being able to separate this frequency that like I feel like I've been working on that for 10 fucking years. I'm like, when am I going to just when is it just gonna like the wires just gonna retether or reconfigure on like how many more ceremonies and how many more like ahas and how many more do I have to have it kicked in the face? Like my mantra in my business for a decade is you matter, you're worthy, your purpose matters, which is like my mantra. But it's like, come on, girl. And like
Yeah.
saying to Gustavo last night, you need to own your worth. Like, I can't help you with that. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
need to love yourself. You need to own your worth. And I'm
Yeah.
like, he's mirroring obviously all the things, which they all do. But anyway, that's a lot of
Yeah.
information. And for the very short questions, the resistance. I think it's all the things, babe. I think there's residents of being burned at the stake. I think to your point, it's like I've had people come for my throat. I mean, I'm used to being hated on. Like I had bullies. Like I had bullies on television. I had bullies behind the scenes. And I think like also the TV thing, and I want to talk about that because at my last retreat, I had a documentary filmmaker there. He literally just called me yesterday and he's claiming bankruptcy. So his lawyer said to him, "You need to
Mm.
kill your video business." So he's like, "I'm just going to give you the footage." So I literally have like the entire 9 days of footage that we could totally turn
Wow.
into a documentary,
Oh, that's amazing.
docu-series or a reality show or a pilot. So I felt in Morocco, there's something here about bringing people on pilgrimage, bringing
Mm-hmm.
people to this place. I mean, it would make the best as a former reality star, this would be the best fucking TV, and it's, like, real shit. It's for people who get it, like, we're literally I had to move an entity out of my body, and it's like,
Mm.
this all like,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the water blessings in the river to,
Mm.
like, I mean, it's gold. Like the fire ceremonies, like I mean, it's a thing. So there's that. I also was told by a Vedic astrologist in 2021 that I would go back to TV, and I was like, no, 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 I already did that. He's like, no, 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 it's in the field.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, of course, spirit's gonna bring me back through when I don't care about
Yeah.
being famous. I could give a shit. And so, of course, it's like the perfect time to come to show the world that like what we're doing is not crackerjack jokes. I feel like anybody who's been trying to highlight the spiritual industry has made a mockery of us and the work
Mm.
we're doing. And it's like, oh, call the coin tarot card reader. And like, let's just like make it like a party novelty. And like what we're doing is like real work. And it's, this is real. Like this is serious. And anyway, I'm talking too much. I want to stop because I want to hear what's coming through.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that, Amber. And I don't like, I agree. Spirit actually, I wrote that down. Spirit was like, she's meant to be on TV. Like that's actually a really strong part of your path. I also see it. And I'll go into what was coming up around that, but I just want to share it's you are about to move into a time where there's a lot of receiving. And it's everything this new path is bringing, right? Like there's receiving of this book, receiving of this, all the stuff that wants to come in the TV. And then there's baby as well. And Spirit was like, this is like your time to really deepen into being able to receive. And there is a collapsing of the old structures. Like, I want to say the path is bringing that because it's like this new identity that you're going to hold, which is also that of the mother. She's got to be able to receive. And this is what you're being called to step into the next level. And they were saying, even for you to sit and map out and go, what does a business or a lifestyle or a marriage or whatever else look like where I am the receiver, where it's like I'm just constantly in this receiving energy because they're saying that's actually like what you're here for. That's a priestess. And it's like this next level for you where you are going to be holding so much more. It's all about receiving. And right now, there's this energy of all the old structures, systems, where you haven't been receiving, where there's been inner stuff that's been rubbing against receiving, like now is the time for that all to shed. And you have been through a death. And I want to honor the times where you haven't felt like, oh, I don't feel like there's energy. I haven't felt guided to show up, because that's also an honoring of yourself and trusting that you're releasing and moving things, and the fact that you were able to listen to it and be with it rather than be like out of integrity is so powerful. And I think, we can feel like, oh, the energy is gone and I'm making it mean all these things, but actually it's all perfect because we go through cycles and seasons. And the reality is, you have been through a big winter. Like, you're still in that death part where you're like, okay, now there's this new path and I can feel it energetically. Like, the rebirth is on its way, but there's still some stuff that's in it. But guess what? The deeper the death, the higher the rebirth. And as someone who sees it, like, it's big. Like, I also want to reassure you with that. It's big.
Thank you for affirming that, because I say the same shit to my students, and boy, is it nice to just get it confirmed back, because I'm like, I almost took my life last year. Like, I was literally in a place of like, I don't trust myself. I do not pick the right people. I only see the good in people. Am I a fucking idiot? Like, how many more people am I gonna let into my inner circle to like use me and abuse me
Mm,
and rob me? Like, I don't trust my decisions. Like, it was like, what is all this shit for if I'm not happy? Like, it was like bam, 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 bam. Just look at the men you're choosing before Gustavo. Like, look at the friends that are not loyal to you, but you literally would give your for. Like, it was just so intense and confronting that I was just like, and then, oh, I'm gonna lose my house. The one thing that I bought, my mom doesn't even own a home. Like, my dad lived in a trailer his whole life. And it was like, wow, I'm gonna lose everything I built. And I poured my heart into service for the last decade, and now I'm gonna lose it all. And it's like, fuck, man. It's like confronting. And it's like, and I say that because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that have had those moments and like have been ashamed or embarrassed to say it. Like, when life can kick your ass sometimes, and sometimes it feels like you're surfing a wave, and then just another one comes and another one comes and another one comes, and you're like, okay, now what? Like, I can't paddle anymore, right? And so, like, yeah, I can imagine, just like the stock market or crypto, like the lower it goes, the higher the
yeah.
rebound. And so,
Mm,
fuck, man, this would make sense as to why I've literally feel like I've been getting dragged on the back of a car,
yeah.
and, and also still showing up,
Yeah.
but only in the way that I can. And I think, like, that's why I'm collapsing Exalt. It's an incredible program, but it's like, Spirit
Mm,
wants me to do something else, and it's like, it feels complete. And the Lightworker initiation, which was, 10 years of my signature course that I like,
yeah.
have my 10-year decade of work, that it's like, I felt complete, like
Mhm.
Spirit said, good job, you did it. So maybe we turn it into a book, or maybe we turn it into pre-recorded, each course. I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, I don't know, but I don't want it to
Mm,
die, because it's helped so
yeah.
many people, but I just can't be the captain of that ship
No,
anymore. And it's
no.
like, I feel like I've held on to, like, but you have to keep going. You've helped so many people. Your content changes lives. Like, you can't just abandon these people. And so, like, I think that also has to do with the resistance.
Absolutely, because it's like when you see people suffering, when you know you can help people, it's hard to say no, which is essentially you by pulling that back. It is in a way saying no, but it's also a yes to all the people that you're meant to actually help and are here to help in a bigger way. And look, your comeback is going to be big. And I do want to share, all of because I still have a lot I want to share from Spirit about like what's on this other side. Like you've been in it, and what's coming through on the other side, especially around your purpose, your offerings, your gifts. There is a lot that is coming through. And it was interesting because one of the things that I wrote here was I don't feel the energy in like this one-on-one coaching, and that doesn't mean you're not amazing at it, but I was like, I honestly, the energy is I feel like you're here for the masses. Like, I feel like you're here. And it was interesting because it was also like I felt you're very mainstream, which is like you're meant to be mainstream. You're also meant to be in front of like the normies who don't get it, and almost be that first taste or first experience for them, which I don't see for many people, but I did see it for you. When spirit was like when I was
I
journeying down this
have
path. Oh, sorry.
I'll just say those are the people. I have two types of people. I have like the priestesses with hiding in their rooms doing their rituals, and then I have the people that are like, I know I want more, but I hate my job. But like, ooh, what's astrology? What's I'm
Mm,
like, so I have these like two very separate archetypes. So continue,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, I love that. And when I was kind of journeying down the timeline, what I was seeing is the majority of your abundance and the way money flows to you was actually not through any type of like coaching business or even like teaching programs, even though I did see those for you. But it's like the majority of abundance felt like it came from these other avenues. It felt like I saw collaborations, I saw the retreats, I saw the book, I saw the TV stuff. And it was like that's where actually the most of the money comes from. And yet I still saw it was like spirit was showing me like these three levels of how, and there is a period of healing for you. And I do want you to honor that because you have been through a lot. And even spirit is saying like there is a period of healing. And until that like healing is done and you've stepped into it, it's not going to feel ready and good for you to step fully into like holding these different things. And that's like that's perfect as well. So they were showing me like these three tiers where it's like one, it's like for the masses, which I also feel like is the TV stuff, the writing, and like all of that, like for the masses. And then there's another step up where I felt like there was some sort of like very low ticket offering, but I saw it as like you're not involved and you don't run it, but it's your stuff. So it could be like lightworker initiation. I felt like there was new stuff in there, and it was just people who were like, oh, I'm feeling cold and I need a bit more. But I didn't see you like hands on in it. I actually saw someone else running it for you, helping you with it and doing it. But it was like, it was you and your teachings. And then I saw this next level, which was like your inner circle. And it was made up of priestesses. Oh my God, like I'm getting emotional as I tune into that. Yeah. It was your inner circle made up of priestesses, and it was like that was the only tier where you're like showing up with other people in that capacity, where you're like with them, and in them in this depth, and initiation and initiation and holding them to it because it was so interesting. Spirit was showing me like you are so deep and like you can't just do a 3 hour event and be like I'm done with it. You're like no, I need to take you away for a few days, completely transform your life and like meet you in all of your parts. That's my work. And they were like that's like when you're working with people like face to face or even online, it's like it's got to have that depth. And it's like it will thrive with the priestesses. It's like I feel like priestesses are your people. Like they get you and you get them, and it's like in that capacity where you have to be so open and vulnerable and hold them, like it's only going to work with priestesses. Yet you are here to serve everyone, but not in a way where they actually get access to you. Honestly, that's what I was feeling.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just want to activate your priestess. I have 7 out of the 9 women signed up. I want a coven of 9 in the 9 year. We're gonna be in Morocco for the 999 portal, and they're coming to Portugal. We're going to the Mary Magdalene initiation well. We're going to the Fatima Shrine. We're gonna do ritual. We're gonna be with Yemen John, the ocean, and we're gonna do activations for 3, 4 days. They're gonna go off to their worlds. We're gonna meet on calls. It's gonna be great, and
I
we're gonna
love that.
dive deep into Magdalene. We're gonna dive deep into Mary. We're gonna dive deep
Yeah.
into the priestess path, and then we're
Yeah.
going to go serve whoever we bring into Morocco. So like
Yeah.
activate your priestess, like a tiny mighty group. Like the women are getting all the signs from the Marys. Like it's already taking its own.
Yeah.
Like it's like literally not supposed to start till January. We like already have a like chat together. Like it's like
Um,
alive. Like we're the bringers of the roses, and it's just like it's
mm,
happening. So it's like it's doing me, and I'm like this can be easy. I haven't posted anything on my feed. I haven't done a trailer. I haven't posted in my email list. Like it's just like let them come to me. And
oh yeah.
so I'm not chasing. There's no ads.
Mhm.
It's like for now, and this is what feels safe and easy button and exhale and downstream. And I got so excited when you were like, just you and your priestess. And you're right. I came on my retreat. She was like, this is like a retreat I've never been on. I was like, nor will you
Mm,
ever. I
mhm.
didn't know we were doing days of ritual. And I was like, yeah. I don't play. Like, I did an 8-hour fire ceremony. I facilitated it for 8 hours straight and had every single person come in and purge their shame
Wow.
and guilt. I got
Wow.
buck ass naked in the fire. Like, I was just like, we're going in. And it's like, we are like releasing and clearing and healing because like we don't got time. So it's like, thank you for that because like I take this shit real serious and people's
Yeah.
lives are transformed. They live 10 years younger and they go back to their worlds and their lives changes and their marriages change and where they live changes and their business change. They change and like their whole life gets better. And I know that I can help people with that, but I have to have them for a long period of time. It can't just be a one
Yes.
hour situation.
100%. And I honestly feel like that's the real priestess work. Like it is full on, it is intensive, but it does change like all parts of their lives because they have to go in and they have to meet themselves in that way. And it's yeah, it's very powerful. The medicine you bring and the magic that you bring with the priestess path. And I'm looking at these three like they're almost three tiers, three avenues of like who you serve, and that tier is the only one where they really like get you because when people have to get your energy they have to be like all in it, and there's just not enough capacity to do that for the entirety of humanity. But the priestesses get it, and it feels like that's the joy, that's the fulfillment, yet these avenues are the ones where money comes from, and they're still just as important. But it's like as I'm tuning each one, it's such a different person and it's such a different transformation. Like that high
Yeah.
level priestess one, it feels like that the transformation is completely like every part of their life, who they are completely transforms and they step into the full, this is who I came to be here. I'm in full remembrance, like fully activated, fully in my purpose, fully embodied, like all of it. I'm here. And it's massive. Like energetically, it's so strong. And then I'm looking at that middle tier, and this is where I feel like the helping people come into their calling, their soul purpose. And it kind of goes in with this front end stuff that I see you doing a lot of, which also they spoke about. I don't know if you're on YouTube or if the energies come there, but you being seen on video is very, very important. And I also see you making money from that. And it's like all these avenues where you're going to be in front of the masses, the energy coming in from that. And these people are then going to go, because that avenue, it's like you're really waking people up, showing them what's possible, educating themselves, activating them. And then there are going to be a lot of them who are like, okay, but I need more. And that's when they're going to come into this, she's going to help me remember my calling. She's going to help me remember my purpose. This is what I saw around your book as well. They were like, the book is about helping like people find their calling, like finding their purpose, finding out like who they are. And that is like there's such a strong energy, and I think it's like it is one of your gifts very much as well. It is interesting. Oh, and sorry, one other thing they said about your gifts, they were saying like you have the ability to magnetize the right people to you. Now this is very, and they were saying, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps, that was one of your priestess gifts as well. But even how you said like I don't market for these priestesses, I honestly don't feel like you have to, like it's like you're actually going to magnetize them to you because it is one of your gifts. And with the book they were showing me that the book is there but it doesn't feel so strong energetically yet. The TV, that feels actually like a like now or within the next 3 months thing. The book is like it's there, but it's the second step. It's not the right now. So I love that you shared that the videographer came and he shared it with you because there's an energy there. And I actually wrote down when we were like chatting about the TV thing, like there's a huge element around like community. And I was seeing you in this. I actually like, I don't feel it's right or wrong. I was seeing like multiple episodes, but if you just want to do like one documentary, it might be like multiple documentaries. It's definitely more than one thing. Sorry.
Think it's like a docu series. It's like
Ah,
I could take the footage for the 8 days and then create episodes.
amazing. Yes, beautiful. Because
I
I
don't
was
know.
seeing like, yeah, more than one thing. So whether it's like multiple movies or multiple like series, but definitely more than one. And they were saying to me, like a really important part is for people to witness a different way of being and a different way of being in community as well. And that I agree. I think it's going to be such a beautiful service, yes, for the spiritual industry, but also for what people need to see and witness and honor, and be in. And when I was tuning into like the purpose, I'm kind of just going because I know we're running out of time, and I'm like, I've still got so much stuff I need to share with you. So I'm just gonna kind of come at you with a lot of information right now. So I apologize if you get overwhelmed by it, but I'm just gonna, and then you can always re-listen to it on the recording as well.
I won't
Um,
get overwhelmed.
oh, great. So I was tuning into your purpose work, and they were really like, you are an activator, and that's how I see you. I do see you as an activator. I do see you as like a wake up for people, and to also show them what's possible. There was a piece of that, but it was like, to activate, the wording they were giving me is to like the light within them, like activating the light within each person and bringing it back. And then they were showing me, yes, and also like Oshun said, watering the feminine. And it's like actually like two paths, and you're actually here to simultaneously hold them. And I feel like you've had so many lifetimes of like mastery and initiations. I think I've said this to you before, like the past life stuff is big for you just because there's so much and so many paths you've walked. There is an element of like mastery in this lifetime where it's like you're actually simultaneously walking two paths, and you're actually meant to walk two different paths with two different purposes, two different experiences. There are, yeah, and they were saying there are in this lifetime many expression of who you're going to activate. And really, there's actually a lot of free will around it. It actually depends on what's aligned um, when it's aligned. And they were saying to me, like, for example, with your priestess work, because you have so many priestess lifetimes, they were showing me so many different countries, where you've had all these lifetimes, like Egypt, modern day Turkey, modern day Syria, Africa, Australia, Brazil, so many. And you are so, I think you said this at the start, the earth, like you are so connected to the ancient earth cultures. There's a real link between you and them, and it's like I just feel like traveling and doing the work on the land is so important for part of your purpose, but also how people get to receive your work. And that it's a really powerful way. It's because I keep seeing like the energy of these priestesses that are going to come in and work with you, and who feel called to work with you. Like it's just going to be transformative in them. And because I wrote here like the spiritual pilgrimages, I think that's what you call them, are tied to like the priestess work. Like that's where the energy is, the energy of divine service to the lands, the elders, the goddesses, and it's really like a divine remembrance. And I do feel like they are going to grow and grow, and you will get to the stage where you're like, I have to like either run more or just cap it, because yeah, there are a lot of people who are so surface level, and I'm sure you've experienced that in this world with courses and teachers and different things, and you're just not a surface level person. You are a deep dive person, right? And that's what these spiritual pilgrimages are doing. And I do feel like there are very much these beautiful goddesses and deities that oversee them, like when you're doing those, and guide you and bring you to where you need. Like it feels just really beautifully, divinely surrendered. Um, and yeah, they were saying to me, you have such a depth and ability to hold people deep, like to meet people in a deep place. But what they said, what is special about you is not just like one on one, but you have the ability to do that for many people. And they were saying like that part of it is rare because you can meet people deep, but do it with a group of people. And I also see you as an initiator, like people, you get people on their path. You're like, hey, wake up, like this is a path. And I feel like that ties into your light worker initiation. um I do want to tune into, let me just see what I wrote here. Look, down the line, because I actually feel like you need to collapse the paradigm and the relationship, and there might be some energetic healing for you with the relationship with the coaching industry, and like to completely close the contracts, disconnect from it. But I do feel like there is something that you're going to build, where there is a level of teaching, but it gets to be completely separate to the industry. It gets to be like just completely on your terms, because what I was seeing is there is like this as your audience grows, it's going to be like actually a need for them to receive from you in that way where you can serve a bigger audience. And that's where I was being shown a lower price program that has a really strong community element, because that's one of your gifts. And there was a lot of energy around it being like the fifth dimension, like 5D, like that was a very strong connection to it. But there wasn't a lot of energy for it right now. But they were saying it will come and you'll feel it when it comes. And you get to trust yourself when you feel like, yeah, the alignment for it. And yeah, like I was saying, I see so much of your abundance not coming directly from like these programs, but actually through your community, through your creations. There's so many gifts for you that come from community. Like Spirit was even showing me, like, look at how we met. Like it was through community and network. And they were saying to me, like, with your marketing strategy, that's like, I would actually be saying for you, that's a number one thing, to just cultivate connections, because everything's going to flow through you. I saw you when I was tuning into that highest timeline. I saw you opening and speaking at events for really big names. I saw you traveling and as part of your service to Yamaya, like really in a big way. And that as you deepen into that service, the travel will increase, and so will the opportunities and invitations. With a book, I did see it with a big name publishing house. I didn't see it like self publishing. That's there, and it is strong. Even as I'm saying it, I feel goosebumps. But it is like it's the next, not like the now step, the next steps. Um, right now, what I would like love for you to do is to tune into that, like right now, I mean, like at this point in time, is to tune into that and initiation that you're being asked to walk, and start really tuning into how much do I get to receive? Will I allow myself receive? And to begin birthing everything that wants to come through for you. Because again, like I was asking about your soul lessons right now, and they were saying right now you are moving through, can I really hold it all and have it all? And Spirit was like, yes, yes. And there's a lot of support to come to you. They were saying, like, not only like for you in your life, but also in your business, there's a lot for you to begin receiving. And they said, like, 2026 for you is going to be massive, like massive year for you in the best way possible. So, like, really, we're talking about this dark night that you went through again. Like, 2026 is going to be, and 2025, it felt like to me the energy was very much like getting you ready, like gearing you up, preparing for it. So it's like you've been in all of this shit. You're like, right, let me heal it. Let me shift into it. I'm preparing. I'm preparing. They were saying like 2025 is like where you're building these stronger foundations. You're opening up, expanding. That's where you get to work with your nervous system. So that 2026 is like, vroom, like, and it all starts to grow. So that was that was all the things. How's it all resonating? What questions do you have? What's coming up?
Epic, epic, epic. Yes, yes, yes to all of that. And I'm really glad you brought, I feel like my guides have been saying to me lately, like, you don't need to kill the light worker initiation. Like, I took days to write each module, babe. Like, I spent 20 grand on the production of that. Like, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
And I have the ability to go deep with people in these big capacities. And so the curriculum's there. Like, the book is essentially done. All
Yeah.
I would have to do is scribe every single episode or every single module. And it's like, I spent days pouring my heart and soul
Yeah.
into perfecting those modules for both of my 2 signature courses, right? So it's like that's my life's work. And like this is some girl wrote to me yesterday. She goes, I need help finding my purpose. I do work one-on-one. And I was like, I have the perfect thing for you. And it's like she can just take the light work initiation.
That's right.
The only thing that's missing in that is the community element, the Telegram chat. But the last girls that took it healed something within me because they were so committed. Most were
Yeah.
from the UK. They were all about it. It was low ticket. I gave it to them. I had one support coach. The Telegram channel blew up and they were just like so grateful. It was the perfect way for me to close the live component of that, or not even live. It's like I used to do it every week live and then it changed to just pre-recorded and then we put them in a Telegram and it's like it gets to be easy button. And I think like it's
Yes.
all there. It's fucking gold. Like I watched the
Yeah.
abundance model when I got activated. I was like, dude, this shit is fucking sick. I should just sell this alone. So I
100%.
think like thank you for affirming that.
Mm,
That's amazing. And yeah, I love speaking. I'm a
mm.
former host, TV host, so I love as
Yes.
soon as the mic
Yes.
is in my hand, I'm an MC, I'm a hype girl. I love that shit. Obviously traveling, yes, yes. I get to come back to Oz. I did a light worker initiation there. We had 100 women there. And then I led a retreat in the mountains or the rainforest or whatever by that cool mountain. Anyway, I
Yeah.
get to come back to Oz. We all get to do something together for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for just affirming all of that. And yeah, I get to get myself ready for what that looks like. And it's been interesting because I was like, oh, is my book going to be about pilgrimages? Da, 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 da. But I was like, but the Lightwork Initiation's already written. Like, why don't you just offer the book and be done with it? Like, so anyway, there was a
Mm.
publisher that's in the field, but I have many friends on that publisher and they're all really unhappy with the way they're treated there. So it's like, it would be like a dream fulfilled to be on that publisher. But also I feel like don't just do it for ego. Like you get to do the publisher that's going to help you reach the most amount of people. So yeah, okay. God will tell
Yeah.
me, I'm sure, unless you have anything to say on that.
Yeah, and look, that's the same publisher I saw for you as well, but I see you as having two options. And honestly, both of them are big names, and both of them, like, I feel like you're going to be happy with both of them. And, the dynamic might not be working with them, but I actually feel like you'll be okay. But there's almost this energy of like, wait for that second opportunity because there is another big one that I feel. But like Spirit is saying, actually whichever like publisher you go with, you're going to be happy with either, and the book is going to get in the hands of the right people that it needs to, regardless of whichever options you go. Like they're both good. They feel slightly different, but they're like, it'll work out with either of them.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, spirit will just take it and give it wings.
That's right. That's right. Whoever needs to serve it. And I'm so happy that you're like, yeah, you're like, yeah, this lightworkers initiation, it's got to keep staying out because I feel the power of it. And I'm not surprised, knowing how deep you go and the transformation you offer, I'm not surprised you spent days and invested so much because you don't do anything, like you don't half-ass anything. You're not like, oh, I need to make some money, let me put something out. You're like, I'm gonna pour every fucking part of me into this and create the most transformational thing. So I'm not surprised. And I also do feel the community element of it, and it might be something for you to explore later, but I don't know if it's with you. I feel like there are priestesses that you're going to initiate, that you're going to bring through, that will be able to contribute to your other offerings to hold the community, because it's not where I see your energy
Well,
at.
there are so many women who have already asked. Like I've had
Yeah.
my previous support coaches have been like, can we run this for you? Can we buy this from you? Like I
Wow.
have like 3 women already. The last one just was a support coach for the last 3 rounds of just like the online piece of it because I didn't run anything live. I did like 2 calls. Like I would love to pop in here and there because I love doing live calls. Like that would be so fun. But like there are women who would be
Yeah.
fucking down to run that. And they were my support coaches for like 6 years. Like so they know this shit. They
Oh
eat,
yeah.
breathe, and this
Oh yeah.
shit. Like they are ride and die super fans of this shit. And
Yeah.
it's like they're so activated by it. I've outgrown it. It's been 10 years, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And you've outgrown it, and yet it still has such a powerful purpose and is so needed and is so transformational. And that's an interesting thing to navigate because you're like, oh, I'm not the one who's gonna like hold it and serve it anymore, yet it's still needed. It's like that next evolution.
Yeah, the legacy piece, which is so interesting. But yeah, thank you for affirming that because I was like you should not get rid of this. Like every time they're like, this changed my fucking life. Like you cannot. And I'm like, but I can't hold it, So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Spirits, we get to figure something great. So thank you for affirming this, that it gets to be shifted in such a way, but it
Yeah.
still gets to be, yeah.
100%. And energetically, I still do feel like you're in the things are still collapsing, but it feels more like paradigms, not actual things. It's like paradigms of like, oh, I'm collapsing the tie that I have to how I should run my programs or how I should do
That's
this
it.
or how I've been. You're actually building the full like Amber 5D business of how it gets to look for you in full 100% soul alignment. And part of you moving through all of this is like the burning to like, I'm not going to do it like they did. I'm not doing it the 3D way. I'm doing it in 100% full integrity, authenticity, soul alignment. And there's still parts that are like moving out, and they're saying the path for you for that is actually just going, what would everything look like if I was just 100% in receiving, because that's what you're actually meant to be in, and you receive the most from your priestesses, which is why they also want you like in the capacity where when you are in the serving and giving in such a profound way, you get to receive just as much back because you're already going to be so busy receiving all of these other things from spirit that you've got to hold that you like the receiving piece. It's huge for you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, are you feeling complete, Amber? Well, thank you so much, Amber, for being here, for being so open and transparent. I so appreciate all your like openness and how much you're willing to share because I know for so many people who are listening this was deeply deeply healing to be able to hear this and experience this and actually see the real like oh wow, okay, it's not just what I see on social media, like this path, there is initiations, like there's work to be done. It's not just what we see online. So thank you for really sharing that part of yourself and being so open. And I'd love for you to share with those listening, how they can, maybe they're like, oh my God, I need to be a part of this priestess program that you're doing, or they're feeling cold. Like, how can they find you? How can they reach out to you to work with you?
Thanks, babe. I really appreciate you, and thank you for letting me go on my channeling tangents. And I know it was a lot for you to have to pull it around the final lap, but thank you for letting me just go on and on and on a tangent.
I love it.
um, you guys can find me at a I am Amber Valdez. I am Amber Valdez. I am Amber Valdez on Instagram. My website hasn't been updated since 2019, so you're welcome to go to it, but it'll probably be me in a cheerlead jumping with cheerleading and pom poms or something, which is like totally not my vibe anymore. But nevertheless, you can find me on the gram. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Amber, again. Thank you to everyone who was a part of this process, witnessed us in it. Thank you. We're so grateful for you and sending you all so much love. Thank you again.
Well, come say hi.